Jack opened his eyes slowly. His body felt cold, and the floor under him was hard and smooth. The light in the room was strange, soft, and blue. Like a dream, he looked down and saw he had no clothes. Panic filled his chest. "Where am I?" He whispered, but no one answered. The walls were smooth and glowing. Like glass, there were no windows, no doors, no buttons, just silence. Then he heard it. A soft laugh, a woman's voice, calm but strange. "You are awake." The voice said, "Good." Jack looked around, but he saw no one. "Who are you?" he shouted. "Where am I?" The voice laughed again. "You are my guest," she said. "My little human." Jack felt a chill. Something about her voice was not right. She sounded amused, like she was watching a game. "Let me out," he said, his voice shaking. "I want to go home." "Oh, but this is home now," she said. "You are part of my collection." Suddenly, a screen appeared on the wall. Showed Jack sitting on the floor, afraid. The camera was inside the room, watching every move. "You are not the first," the voice said. "But you might be the most fun." Jack stood up quickly, trying to cover himself. "This is wrong." "What do you want from me?" "I want to see how you react," she said. "To fear, to shame, to hope. You are here for my entertainment." Jack's hands became fists. He didn't understand everything, but he knew one thing. This was no dream. He was on some kind of alien ship, far from Earth. And the woman, the voice was not human. "I won't play your game," he said, strong and clear. "Oh, you will," she whispered. Then a sharp pain hit his back, like electricity. He fell to the ground, gasping. "That was just a warning," she said. "Be a good toy." The screen turned off, and the room went silent again. Jack lay on the cold floor, breathing hard. His body hurt, but his mind was clear. He had to survive. He had to escape. This was not just about him. If she could take him, she could take others too. She had to be stopped. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. He couldn't tell. Then, a panel in the wall opened. A small bowl of strange food slid into the room. He stared at it, unsure. Was it safe? Was it a trap? He didn't eat it. Not yet. He had to think, to watch, to learn. He would not give her what she wanted. He would not break as he sat in the corner. He looked up at the glowing walls. Somewhere behind them, the alien woman was watching. Maybe she thought he was weak. Maybe she thought he was already defeated. But Jack was human, and humans don't give up. Not now, not ever. Jack sat in the corner. It's cold and tired. He hadn't eaten the strange food. His body was weak, but his eyes were sharp. He listened for every sound, every change. Then the wall in front of him began to move. It opened like a door, but not like any door he had ever seen. It melted away, like light turning into smoke. A shadow stood behind it, tall and strange. She walked into the room slowly. For the first time, Jack saw her. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin was silver and smooth. Her eyes large and bright blue. Her hair floated like silk, though there was no wind. She wore a thin dress that shimmered like stars. She was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Hello again, Jack," she said with a smile. "I thought it was time we met face to face." Jack stood up, careful not to show fear. He was still naked, still exposed, but he kept his voice steady. "What do you want from me?" he asked. She walked around him like a cat studying a mouse. "I want to see what you're made of," she said. "Your body, your mind, your courage. You humans say you're strong. I want to see it." Jack stayed quiet. He knew this was a game to her, but not to him. For her, it was fun. For him, it was life or death. "You enjoy this?" he asked, "watching me suffer?" She stopped and tilted her head. "Yes," she said without shame, "but I enjoy surprises more. Show me something I haven't seen. A loud sound echoed through the room. Walls around them turned into screens. Now Jack was inside. Large chamber like an arena. He was not alone anymore. Strange robots rolled out from hidden doors. Each held strange tools, blinking lights. Sharp edges, scanning devices. The woman floated back and watched from above. "Let's play," she said. Jack ran. The floor shifted under his feet, moving like waves. He dodged one machine, then another. But a third caught his leg with a cold beam, freezing it in place. He fell hard. The robots moved closer. Jack punched one. Metal cracked. Another. One shot a light at his chest, burning like fire. He screamed but fought on. From above, the alien woman clapped her hands slowly. "You are interesting," she said. "Much better than the last one." "What happened to the last one?" Jack shouted. "He broke," she said. "In 3 days, you've lasted longer." Jack's heart pounded. This was not just a test. It was a show, and he was the main act. He had to change the story. He had to flip the game when one of the robots came close. He didn't run. He grabbed its arm and ripped out wires. Sparks flew. He threw the arm at another machine, knocking it down. The alien woman leaned forward, her eyes wide. Now she was curious. Now she was interested. "I knew you were special," she whispered. Jack looked up at her, breathing hard. "You think this is a game," he said, "but I will win it." She smiled again, but this time it was slower. "You might," she said, "and that excites me even more. Let's see how far you can go." The chamber faded. The walls turned back to normal. Jack was alone again, bruised, bleeding, and naked but alive as he lay on the floor. One thought stayed in his mind. She likes games, but I will be the one to break the rules. Jack sat alone again. The pain in his arms and legs was deep, but his mind stayed sharp. He had learned something important. The alien woman, whoever she was, liked games. But more than that, she liked control. She watched him like a queen. Watching her favorite pet, he could feel her eyes even when the walls were blank. But now he had a plan. If she loved control, then he would give her the opposite: chaos, confusion, and questions. The food came again, a strange bowl of glowing cubes. This time he ate slowly, acting like he trusted her. He knew she was watching. He even smiled at the camera. She liked it, he could tell. Then her voice returned, smooth and cold. "You are doing better, Jack," she said. "Maybe I won't break you after all." "Why break me?" he asked. "Why not talk to me like a person?" There was silence. Then she answered, "You are not a person to me," she said. "You are a story. And I enjoy good stories." Jack nodded slowly. "You don't know much about humans, do you?" Her voice grew curious. "I know your strength, your wars, your pride. I've watched your kind for years, but you've never talked to one." Jack said, "Not really." Silence again. Then she appeared, her silver form shining like glass. This time she sat down across from him. No tests, no machines. Just her and him. "Tell me something," she said. "Something I don't know." Jack looked into her eyes. "Earth has oceans," he said, "full of life, whales sing under the water." She blinked slowly. "Why would that matter to me?" "Because you've seen our weapons," he said, "but not our beauty." The room went quiet. She stared at him like she was trying to read his soul. Then she stood up. "Interesting," she said. "Very interesting." Jack smiled. "Just a little." He was getting into her head. She was starting to see him not as a toy, but as something more. Not a weak thing to control, but a puzzle to solve. Days passed, or what felt like days. Each time she appeared, she asked questions. Why? Do humans cry? What is love? What does it feel like to lose? Jack answered all her questions, but never gave her everything. He told her stories, some true, some not. and each time, he watched her more closely. She laughed at jokes. She frowned at sad parts. She was learning, but so was he. One day, she brought a strange object into the room. It looked like a floating mirror. Inside it, Jack saw images, other captives, other species. Most of them were gone now, lost or broken, but she had saved all their last moments. Why show me this? Jack asked. I want to know what makes you different. She said, you fight, you laugh, you resist. Because I'm human, he said, and we don't quit. She stepped closer. Maybe I don't want to break you, she said softly. Maybe I want to understand you. Jack looked at her closely. Was this another trick? Or was she changing? It didn't matter, because now he knew something powerful. She needed him, more than he needed her. And that was the beginning of his real escape. Jack waited for her to return. The alien woman had not visited in 2 cycles. The room stayed silent. The food still came, but no voice, no tests, no games. He knew something had changed. He used the quiet time to study the room, every corner, every light, every shadow. There had to be a weakness. No prison was perfect, not even one floating in space. Then, during a fake exercise, stretching and pacing, he found it, a small panel in the floor near the food tray slot. It was thin and hidden under the glowing tiles. He scratched it with a sharp bone from a meal he never ate. It shifted. Inside was a small access hatch, full of wires and lights. He smiled. This was not just a room, it was part of a ship, and ships could be broken. He listened carefully before touching anything. He couldn't afford to trigger an alarm, but curiosity pushed him forward. Just a quick look, he told himself. Just a peek. He pulled one wire and the wall across the room flickered. A screen appeared, but it wasn't his room. It showed something else, another chamber, dark and red. Inside were bodies, dozens, maybe hundreds, not human, not like him. Some had wings, some had claws, some had empty eyes. All of them were dead. He stepped back, heart pounding. She said he was part of a collection, but she never said what happened to the others. Now he knew they were test subjects. And when they were no longer interesting, they were erased. Jack turned off the screen and closed the panel. His hands shook, but his mind was clear. He was not just fighting for himself anymore. He was the last one left, and maybe the only one to ever get this far. When she returned, her voice was calm as always. "Did you miss me?" she asked. Jack nodded, pretending to smile. "A little," he said. "It was boring without you." She laughed. "Tell me something new today." Jack sat down and told her a made-up story, a human tale of bravery and loss, but his mind was somewhere else. He had seen too much now. He had crossed a line. Later that cycle, he acted tired. He lay still in the corner, like he had given up. She watched, amused. But he was counting the seconds, waiting for the right moment. The food tray arrived, as always. The panel opened for a second. He slipped a piece of wire into it, jamming it slightly. Now the door stayed open just a bit longer. Not enough to escape yet, but enough to work. He whispered to himself, "This is not a game anymore. This is war." Jack began to collect scraps, bits of metal, plastic, anything he could find. He hid them behind the wall panel, slowly building tools. A hook, a blade, a signal booster. Each day he added more. He kept pretending. He smiled at her. He joked. He told stories, and she believed it. She believed he was breaking in a new way, soft and emotional. But Jack was doing something else. He was becoming dangerous. He knew she liked power, so he made her feel powerful. But deep inside, the fire of rebellion burned brighter. He whispered it in the dark when no one listened. "I will end this ship. I will burn your perfect game." The turning point had come. And Jack was no longer just a captive. He was a storm waiting to rise. Jack waited. Every hour felt like a knife pressing deeper. He smiled when she visited, told her stories, answered her questions, but behind the smile, his heart beat like a drum of war. The small tools he had made were hidden well: a thin metal hook, a sharp chip from the food tray, a bent wire he shaped into a key. They looked useless, but to Jack, they were everything. He tested the panel during rest periods. Each time, he opened it a little wider. He whispered names of the dead creatures he saw on the screen, not to remember them, but to remind himself. What would happen if he failed? Then came the moment he had been waiting for. The lights in the room flickered. Not much, just a soft blink, but enough. Something was wrong with the ship. She appeared on the screen, looking calm. "You may feel some shaking," she said. "I am adjusting orbit." Jack nodded, pretending not to care, but inside, he smiled. Distraction, his best friend. When the food tray came, he acted slowly, tired, weak, but his hands moved fast. He jammed the tray door open and slipped inside the fake key. A soft click, then open. The tunnel behind it was small and dark, too tight for most, but just wide enough for him. He crawled inside, holding his breath. Every second felt like thunder in his ears. He reached a crosspath, wires running in all directions. He followed the red ones. Red always meant danger or control. He found a junction box and plugged in the signal booster he had made. It blinked once, then twice, then sent a message: "Jack. Alive, alien ship. Send help." He had no idea if anyone would hear it. Maybe Earth would catch the signal. Maybe no one would, but it was better than silence. Then he heard it. Her voice, not from the walls, but from deeper in the ship. She was angry. "Who touched my system?" She said aloud, "Who dares?" Jack froze. She knew. He turned to crawl back, but it was too late. Bright lights filled the tunnel. A force pulled him backward like air being sucked through a hole. He was yanked into the main chamber. Slammed onto the floor, she stood above him. No smile now. Her eyes burned like cold fire. "You lied to me," she said. "You broke my rules." Jack stood up slowly. He was bleeding, shaking, but standing. "I'm not your toy," he said. "I'm human, and humans don't stay in cages." She looked at him for a long moment. Then, to his surprise, she smiled again. "Amazing." She said softly, "You keep surprising me." She walked around him, slowly. "I could end you right now," she said. "One command, and you vanish." "But you won't," Jack said. "Because you're enjoying this." She stopped. The silence between them was thick and sharp. "You think I'm weak?" she asked. "No," he said. "I think you're curious." She turned away, her silver hair floating like smoke. "I should destroy you," she said again, but softer. Jack didn't answer. He had taken the first step. He had sent the signal. Now, someone might come. Now, the game had changed. As she left the room, the lights dimmed. A quiet alarm beeped in the distance. Jack lay on the floor, smiling through the pain. He had lost the round, but not the war. Jack woke to silence. No voice, no camera light, no food tray, just silence. Cold and heavy, he sat up, every part of his body aching. But it wasn't pain that filled his mind. It was the quiet, too quiet. She hadn't come back since the last confrontation. She hadn't punished him. She hadn't praised him. That scared him more than her anger. He walked slowly to the center of the room. The glowing walls were darker now, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Something had changed, not just in the ship. In her, then the wall melted away. She entered, not floating this time, but walking. Her eyes looked tired, her glow a little dimmer. But she still had that smile. Soft, strange, powerful. "You caused a lot of trouble." "Jack," she said. Her voice was quieter than usual. "I should have destroyed you the moment you arrived." Jack didn't move. He stared at her, calm and clear. "But you didn't," he said. "Because you needed me." Her eyes narrowed. "I don't need anyone," she said quickly. "I collect stories. I don't live them then." "Why are you here?" Jack asked. "Why not just kill me and move on to the next one?" She paused. "I don't know," she whispered. For the first time, she looked confused, like something inside her didn't make sense anymore. Jack stepped forward, slow and careful. "You've been alone a long time," he said, "watching others, breaking them, playing your games, but deep down, you want something more." She laughed, but it was hollow. "You think you understand me." "No," Jack said, "but I think you want to be understood." She walked closer. "I could end this right now," she said again, "one word, and you vanish." Jack nodded. "I believe you." "But you won't say that word." Her hand rose, glowing with strange energy. Jack didn't flinch. He just looked into her eyes, unshaken, unbroken. Her hand lowered. "I hate that you make sense," she said. "You're not like the others, because I don't play to win, Jack." Said, "I play to survive." Silence again. Then she turned her back to him. "I have a deal for you," she said. Jack frowned. "A deal?" "Join me," she said. "Be my second, not my prisoner. Help me study others. Travel with me. You'll have power, safety, freedom." Jack didn't answer right away. He stared at the strange symbols on the wall. He thought of Earth, of the signal he sent, of the dead bodies in the red room, and of her powerful, curious, lonely, "Why me?" He asked. "Why not just find someone else?" "Because you're the first who didn't break," she said. "You're the only one who made me think." Jack walked past her slowly. He stopped by the wall where the food tray used to come. "And I'll join you," he said, "but only if I get full access to this ship. No lies, no traps." She looked at him, surprised. "Are you negotiating?" "Yes," Jack said, "because I know you want this to work." She smiled again, but it was different now. Less cruel, more curious. "Deal," she said as she left the room. The lights brightened. Jack stood alone, heart racing. He had accepted the deal, but not the future she wanted. He wasn't planning to stay. He was planning to end this ship from the inside, one system at a time. Jack stood inside the control room of the ship. The walls were alive with moving lights, shifting patterns, and soft sounds. He wore a thin suit, now alien in design, but shaped for him. No more cold floor, no more food trays. He was no longer a prisoner, at least. That's what she wanted him to believe. The alien woman watched from her seat, high above the deck. She looked proud, calm, and curious. "You see?" she said. "You are no longer weak. You're part of something bigger now." Jack nodded slowly. "Yes," he said, "much bigger." But behind his calm voice was fire. Because his signal had gone through, he knew it the moment the stars outside shifted. A new ship had entered the area. A human ship. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He kept quiet and waited. She didn't know yet. Her sensors were strong, but her pride was stronger. She thought she had full control, but control is a lie. When she left the room, Jack moved fast. He opened the hidden panel again and reached into the core wires. He connected a small human-made chip, one he had crafted from broken alien parts and bits of his prison. It sent a pulse through the ship, invisible but loud, a beacon. "Target confirmed, location locked," he whispered to himself. "They're coming." Then the ship shook, not from her games this time, but from real power. Outside, a human vessel appeared, small but fast, covered in armor. It didn't send a message, it just fired. The alien woman stormed into the control room, her eyes wide, her voice sharp. "What have you done?" Jack turned to face her. "Something you never expected," he said. "I told you humans don't quit." She stared at him, betrayed and amazed. "You lied?" she said. "No," Jack said. "I adapted." The ship shook again, harder. Sparks flew from the walls, and systems began to fail. Screens went dark, alarms screamed. She raised her hand to strike him, glowing with deadly light. But he was ready. He stepped aside and hit the switch he had rewired. Energy from the human. Chips surged through the floor. Her hand sparked. Her power stopped. She fell to her knees, stunned. Jack looked down at her. "You wanted a show," he said. "Well, this is what humans do when we're pushed too far." The ship's outer wall cracked open, and a team of humans entered. Helmets on, weapons ready. They grabbed Jack and pulled him back. One of them saluted him. "Signal received," the soldier said. "You did good." Jack looked at the alien woman one last time. She was breathing, alive, but silent, not broken, but changed. For the first time she had lost. Back on Earth, Jack became known as the one who escaped the Collector. People asked for his story, his memories, his pain. But Jack always said the same thing. She thought we were weak. She thought she could break us. But we are human. We learn, we adapt, and we fight back. He sometimes looked at the stars and wondered if she still watched, not as a master, not as a queen, but as something else, a learner, a witness to what humans can become.